Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the nice long 3-day weekend we had. I know I did. Spencer Israel here. Dennis Dick. Joel is out for the week, which means crazy stuff's about to happen. That usually happens when either Joel or Dennis leave for the week. So this morning things are looking, I wouldn't say they're looking crazy, but we are pointing down today into the open. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Goldman Sachs had earnings. Charles Schwab had earnings. I want to talk about Unilever. Dennis wants to talk about reopening stocks today. That'll be his big idea for the day. And then Michael Pachter is our guest. We're talking the metaverse. We're talking streaming. We're talking gaming. 8:35. Stay tuned for that. So hit that like button, and we'll start the show right now.
This is Pre-Market Prep with Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick, and Spencer Israel.
Good morning, Triple D. How was your week?
What's up? It was good. 3-day weekend. Snowstorm. Did you get some snow in the D? Not much, eh?
It just missed us. We got like nothing, but you guys got a ton, right?
Yeah, but I'm up north in Georgian Bay, so I always get a ton. So I had a bunch of people text me, "Oh, how much snow did you get?" And I was like, "We got about 8 inches." They're like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Well, that's actually just a normal day." Because we got 8 inches last week, I think twice. So we always get dumped on. It's the bay effects where, we're right on the bay and the snow rolls around, blows around, and we get snow squalls and all kinds of fun. They call this area the snow belt for a reason. So I probably got 2.5 feet on the ground, I would say right now, about 2.5 feet. That's typical for this time of year. So it was a dumping yesterday. We got probably 8 or 10 inches more, but nothing out of the ordinary. It doesn't slow this area down anyways.
I know Ohio got a bunch. It was just south of us and just east of us. I know got dumped on, but
they got it more than we did too, like 8 inches. Like I think Toronto, I don't know, some people saying 3 feet. I think they got some snow in Toronto. So it definitely, we got the upper end of it.
Yeah.
So we didn't get hit as bad, but we got some snow. So not a big deal. We make some snowmen, go do some fun things, winter activities. That's what it's all about.
All right, so real quickly, let's just take stock of things here this morning. I'll bring up my SPY chart because Joel's out, which means we look at the SPY, everyone. And you see the market.
We look at the SPY now.
Market's pointing lower. Bond yields rising this morning, so stock markets are down at least. Every major index is in the red. No surprise that your Nasdaq / your QQQs are your leader down this morning. We'll talk about that and just a broad weakness in growth. At least, so far the day is young, but that's how things are shaping up for the morning. Everything growthy is down. Crypto is down as well. Oil is trading higher. I saw Goldman Sachs put out a note today calling for $100 a barrel in oil.
Yeah.
So here's the USO. So that's trading higher. That's basically your exception today. Actually, commodities, broadly speaking, are higher. But anything else is lower. So
it's the same thing. It's a stuff trade, right? I mean, you're seeing inflation everywhere. We know inflation's there. They got the data. So, we're cooking 7%, at least even what they're saying. And coming out of obviously the data now, which we know is skewed, and we know we're running higher than that. I mean, everything's going up. Wage inflation's going up. Inflation is a serious problem. It's the trade we see that continues to work. You owning stuff, not future dreams, and obviously, we know those stocks, the Cathy Wood stocks down again. It's like the same story every day. Everybody asking me every day, is this the bottom in tech? Is this the bottom in growth tech? Is this the bottom in growth tech? The bottom will happen when I get one day that I don't actually get that message sent to me. That'll be the bottom. That'll be my tip off. So, I mean, it's making new lows here. At least it made new lows on Friday. Trying to make new lows here again today. These stocks are going to have bounces. They're going to have wicked little rallies because they got high betas. But again, the trend definitely not your friend. I've tried to call the bottom a couple times to no avail. Stopped out on all of those. I thought at the beginning of the year could get the rally. Did not. I just don't see it turning around here for those stocks and, them ripping up 30, 40, 50%, getting back. I think that the mindset has changed to more value-oriented, inflationary. Obviously, oil still, there. But, what I think you should be buying right now, and we're going to take it right into the virus talk, is I think you should be buying reopening stocks because I've talked to a lot of people this weekend. I know a lot of people that have had Omicron. I'm sure you all do. It is everywhere. And what those people are saying, we have Mitch and Enver in the background talking to them as well. Just had it. I mean, Enver's like saying in the background, I'm going to go out and do stuff. And you know what? You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're in the peak of it now. But a week or two from now, you're going to start seeing cases start going down. We already saw that in New York City to a certain extent over the weekend. Cases starting to go down. I think you're going to have the reopening trade start to perk up. And you know what? The reopening trade this time, I think it's going to be for real, because it's not going to be based on vaccination. It's going to be based on infection. Everybody seems to have this, even Ontario throwing in the towel, really. We have been in lockdown here. They're reopening schools today, and they're reopening just because the main thing is that there's not a lot of people dying from this. So you can't have, the mental health issues and everything else that's coming and staying in lockdown when it's not killing, nearly as many people as it was 2 years ago. At least it appears that way from the data. So they're reopening schools in Ontario. We're probably going to start to reopen everything. And, this is a tell that I think the reopening trade's coming. I think it's going to be a good one. I think you got to be buying casinos. I think you got to be buying cruise lines. I think you got to be buying airlines. I think you got to be buying people, and even like the bookings and stuff like that. I think there's going to be people going out and doing stuff because they haven't been doing that much in the last 2 years, and now they're going to feel safer. One, because they've probably already had it, the virus.
Right, and someone to think about it, and I'm going to bring up a chart that shows daily new cases in the U.S., and it's just like the first peak happened in January of last year, right? Which is right in the peak of flu season, right? We're also like in flu season. People just get sick normally this time of the year anyway. And so like you would expect as we come out of that and as more people get this thing, then they will then go out, right? So like the theory, your theory, I guess, holds some water. It's really just a guess at this point, but
everything's a guess.
It holds some water. I mean, I kind of felt the same way when I had COVID in October. I kind of felt the same way after I got through it. I was like, all right, like I'm ready to go, like I'm ready to start doing some stuff. So I understand that to some point. But as far as like the reopening trade, the airlines, the cruise lines, the casinos, whatever other travel stocks were, I don't know. They haven't gone anywhere yet, which I guess is maybe fits your argument than mine. But here, let me pull.
They've come up a bit though. It's been a sneaky. You think about the market environment we're in. The relative strength in those stocks has been very good because the S&Ps, SPY has been down, the IWN's been down, and you've got bring up an NCLH. Trickling higher. I think it's going to break out. I think we're going to see NCLH, the cruise lines start to break out. I think you're going to see the hotel stocks, which have actually shown a lot of relative strength, start to be leaders here going forward. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I've never liked owning those stocks, but even the airlines here, I hate the airlines. I've hated the airlines forever. Yeah. I'm not going to put them in my long-term portfolio, but you know what? They set up like you're just thinking, I think the relative strength has actually been pretty good in these stocks. And I think if the market goes to turn, and obviously this is market dependent, if we start to just roll over on the S&Ps and start to crash again, everything's going to go down with it. But if we get any sniff of, a little bit of a comeback here, I don't think it's going to be the Cathy stocks that lead us back. I think it's going to be the reopening stocks that lead us back. So reopening, maybe you're hedging it by shorting some S&Ps or something against it if you're a little bit more cautious. But I think you're going to see a reopening trade here. And I think it's going to be an impressive one.
I think I'm talking against myself as well because I have so much travel planned for the next 12 months.
Where are you going? Talk to me.
I'm going to Vegas in April. I'm going to Williamsburg in Virginia in August. I'm going to DC/Maryland in May. I will be going to Chicago at some point during the summer. We talked about going to Kentucky.
You are the reopening trade, Mr. Israel.
Family. I have a wedding a year from now in Mexico. Like, I have my own honeymoon will be after that. So
you're making me want to buy these stocks even more.
I have playing a lot of travel for the next 12 months. So I think I'm contradicting myself here this morning. So maybe I don't know. I guess it's been so long though. Like I always said, if I had to pick one between the casinos, airlines and cruise lines, I'd pick the casinos because I feel like that just has like the lower barrier to entry as far as people willing to go back to. I don't know how many people are willing to, go on a cruise right now. And airlines also we talked about are those are just not great businesses in general. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I would have to think. I would have to like sleep on this one for a little bit. To your point, they have been outperforming relative to. Let's just pull up like the QQQs here, and we'll just compare it. This is MGM.
They've been outperforming. There's no doubt. They've been
Yeah.
outperforming. I mean, and obviously we had the headline from Las Vegas Sands and Wynn. They've gapped up on it.
Yeah.
I never like to chase stocks. I always say you're going to get another chance. I'm not saying you should chase these moves, but you're getting a little pullback in some of these stocks this morning. I mean, I don't think you're going to fill the gap on Las Vegas Sands here. I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see too much of a reopening trade start to come. But maybe I want more exposure to Las Vegas as opposed to going to Macau. So maybe you do go to an MGM. Maybe you do go to some of those hotels. Maybe you go to a Hilton. Maybe you go to those stocks. But I think if you're just leaning on and you're looking at stuff to buy, instead of looking at these beaten down Cathie Wood names that are in horrible downtrends, look at the relative strength in the reopening stocks, because I think they're going to lead us out of this.
All right. Something to think
It's a
about.
prediction. I mean, all we can do as traders is make calls.
Well,
and
it's it's a theory that we don't know if it'll play out, but if it does, like Dennis will be prepared. It's just like when here, let's go to like our ARKK, right? We had the idea a month ago, like, maybe we get a little bit of a January effect here.
Didn't happen.
But it didn't happen, and that's okay.
That's okay. Get the hell out. Move on.
Yeah,
Made
exactly.
new lows. We were saying we were leaning on the lows of the move, and ARK took out 90. And you got to get out of all those stocks. And it's been straight down since. And you have not taken any heat. If you were shorting it through the triple bottom at 90, it's now down at 78. And yeah, you had a little bit of wicked where it might have shaken you out there, but never got back above 90. So, I mean, these are still in clear downtrends. And you just think about it. Think and just back up and look at the picture. Stuff's over. The valuations that they're holding in these companies are still way overvalued. You're in an inflationary environment. And you're in an environment where people want to get out and do stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff in the ARK innovation, the metaverse and stuff. Well, if you're staying home and we're in a pandemic, it's pretty cool to go put on your Oculus glasses and go, to the bar in your Oculus glasses. People are going to want to go to the physical bar coming up. They're going to want to go out and have a drink. They're going to want to go out and go to a restaurant. They're going to want to go out and do stuff. And, I haven't had COVID yet. I'm assuming with my kids going back to school, we may get it. But from everybody I talk to, they're saying it hasn't been that bad for the majority of people. So we're with the majority. It's hopefully not going to be that bad for us if we do get it. But once we get it, we don't have to live in fear anymore. We don't have to live in as much fear. And I think the whole U.S. and North America, forget about China. They just get their first 2 cases or whatever.
Dude,
now it's coming from an envelope in Toronto. Wait. The stuff coming out of there.
That there was a positive case or whatever, and they locked the building down with people, like the office with people inside.
It's all just ridiculous.
They just lock people inside. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they're trying to blame the Canadians now. It's like South Park. Blame Canada. Well, they got the envelope came from Toronto. And Canada has so many cases of Omicron there, and it was on the envelope. And that's how we've got it now. I mean, the lies coming out of China, and I'm going to just say it flat out, lying is just, you cannot believe anything coming out of there right now. So just ignore everything that's said and coming off an envelope. And we have 2 cases. There's, millions of cases, millions and millions of cases around North America, with only 2 in China. Billion people, only 2 cases. Come on.
I think
so. Anyways, we don't have to worry about what they're saying. It's all ridiculous nonsense. So let's focus on what's happening here. What's happening here is we can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel on this, and it's going to come through herd immunity. And that's what they said originally. It was going to come through vaccination or herd immunity. The vaccinations did not do a good enough job because everybody got it again. They changed the rhetoric. Yes, some of the vaccinations are helping people not to get sick, but we know they didn't do as good a job as they originally were saying, because it was supposed to not allow us to get it. And that has, changed. The narrative has changed. So now we move on. Herd immunity is going to come, it looks like, to give us the light at the end of the tunnel. The Omicron looks like it's what the vaccines were supposed to do.
I'm not sure.
That's my opinion. It's going to piss some people off, but that's where we're at.
I'm not sure how many people at this side of the Pacific put a lot of stock into what China says, but whatever.
Herd immunity. That's what's actually doing it. Herd immunity.
Let's move on here. We had a couple earnings today. Things will get a little bit heavier in the back half of the week, but we had Goldman Sachs report earnings this morning. Bring up the headlines here in the Benzinga Pro news feed. Their headline number, the headline EPS number was about 90 cents or so below the estimate. There are always strange adjustments.
What's happened to Activision? Stop right now. Activision.
ATVI? Yeah, yep. Well, there was the headline over the weekend.
No, right now. What just happened?
You see anything on ATVI? Yeah, Microsoft nearing a deal to buy Activision? What?
Oh my gosh.
What? Hold on. That's what Dow Jones just reported. ATVI. Whoa.
Wow. I'm in shock. Is this true? Like you're giving it to me. So is this a rumor or is this like
it's a rumor from the Wall Street Journal?
They have 30% on a rumor.
Holy crap! They had the headline. It was over the weekend that Activision had quietly laid off a bunch of people, in regards to the whole sexual harassment cultural thing. Their problem is they're having. But whoa! Holy cow! How's Microsoft doing off this? Let's quick. Let's see. So, what a day to have Pachter on the show.
Good timing on that one.
Holy cow!
Let's go to Activision. Microsoft's getting hit on it. I obviously own Microsoft in the long-term portfolio. This has got to be more than a rumor. Up 38%.
I mean, it's
if it's a rumor, like you got to be rigging the register. If this is just a rumor, or is this a fact? Because that's crazy. We're up 38% on a rumor here.
I don't know. I don't often get to use this little video we made.
Dow Jones, fantastic source, Wall Street Journal. They dot their I's and cross their T's. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But holy mackerel, that's a big premium when we don't even know the number here yet.
There's your halt.
Halted now. They halt Microsoft too? No, halted Microsoft.
I don't know.
Wow, I don't even know what to say.
Me neither.
Here it is. It's popping at my Twitter feed now too. So that's why I was like, we got to talk this right now. Just breaking right now. Wall Street Journal scoop. Microsoft nearest deal to buy Activision Blizzard. This is right from Dow Jones. I'm just trying to read if there's a story here. I don't know if this is still just headlines here. I don't know if I've got the story yet.
Randy from our news desk said he thinks the PR is about to hit.
They just halted the stock.
Right.
So obviously this is huge news. I mean, for the gamers here as well, they've been beaten up. The gamers have, obviously been under pressure here for a long time. What a day to have Pachter on. We know Activision Blizzard has been under pressure. I mean, we talked the video gaming stocks before.
Cow.
Yeah, this is big. I mean, and then you look, obviously, let's look at the peers here because they're still trading. EA is trading up $5 on this. These stocks, some of these aren't that expensive. I own Take-Two. I own Zynga, but then I went, obviously, I had sold my Zynga to buy Take-Two. And obviously, I'm exposed to it directly.
EA up 4%. Take-Two, what was that, up 2%?
2.5%. Yeah. I mean, those are the big three.
Roblox.
We used to look at, Roblox, you can look at that. I don't know. You think Roblox?
Corsair.
The problem with these ones, and the Corsair might not be a bad play. The problem with Roblox is the valuation. Nobody's coming to rescue that type of valuation, I don't think. But, wow, Activision Blizzard wasn't an expensive stock. Hopefully we're going to get if there's a number here. But the stock is officially halted here now. So obviously,
Dow Jones / WSJ, they do not mess around.
But
they get things wrong.
But they said rumor. They didn't say. They still, rumors are rumors, and sometimes you get rumors and they don't materialize. But wow,
they just
halted the stock. It's probably got something.
They definitely get things wrong. They're not perfect. No one is.
Yeah.
But like when they drop a rumor like that, also it's like it's believable because it's Microsoft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
fits in.
Wow.
You're going to see if they pay this kind of premium here, though, and it's all stock deal.
You don't even know, Dennis. We have no idea. We have no idea what. There's no numbers. There's nothing.
No numbers, nothing yet. Microsoft's getting hit on. It's down 2.5% here now. I'd be careful buying Microsoft here. I own Microsoft, talking against my portfolio. I'm still sticking with my long-term Microsoft position. But they've been smacking stocks that have done takeovers. This would be a big one for Microsoft. I mean, let's look at the market caps here. This isn't a small pill to swallow. Activision Blizzard's got a pretty decent sized market cap.
Let's take a look.
So Activision Blizzard, go up to Benzinga Pro, show this information here for us, Spencer. Activision Blizzard market cap
50 billion. That was before.
and relative to Microsoft, which is what, almost 2 trillion?
Something like not
or more,
something like that. Here, what's
it's still a small drop in the. It's 2.3 trillion.
2.3 trillion. All right,
so it is a small drop in the bucket, but you got to look. They like knocking off the premium that they pay. So if they pay a $20 billion premium, they'll like to knock a $20 billion off the price of Microsoft, which isn't a ton of money. So maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe being down 2.5% is a big deal. Did they just halt? Oh no, Microsoft's still trading. So very, awesome when we get live, news breaking on the show like that. So
I mean that came completely out of left field.
I just saw it popping off in my filter. I was like, whoa, what just happened in Activision Blizzard? Is that an error? And then nope. And then somebody who said in the chat, we should give props. Somebody popped out in the chat too, right off the hop. They're like, what's going on with Activision?
Yeah.
Ramesh, there was a whole pile of people. Our chat's awesome. They're watching all this stuff too. Michael looks like the first one. Sigismondo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. ATVI News ? We're like,
yep. So okay, I'm seeing some more stuff that apparently they're valuing Activision at wait, what I just saw at 70 billion, which is a 40% premium from Friday's close, which is basically what just happened. So
that's what they're saying the number could be. So it took it right to the number. This has got to be more than a rumor then, or this market's the dumbest market that's ever existed. Because if it's a rumored 40% premium, you don't trade it up there on the rumor. You make sure it's fact. So maybe we're going to actually see a breaking news here.
Well, by coincidence, the halt hit when the stock was up 37%. That's just when the halt hit.
So and they're halted, and there's no circuit breakers during the pre-market, so this isn't a limit up, limit down thing. Those don't exist until after 9:30. This is halted for news pending. So I think Dow Jones broke it. They're probably like, oh, it's leaked. Halt the stock. I think this is probably going to come to
Scotty B asked how long will the halt be when it's all here. I'll show you in Pro. So when you have a halt that says news pending like that, this is in our signals tool. You can look at all the halts. This halt could go. We have no idea. Like
news,
we will get clarity from the exchange. They will announce when they're going to resume the stock, but it could be 10 minutes. It could be an hour. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a 5-minute volatility halt. This is a halt for news pending, which means it's really up to the exchange to determine when to reopen the stock. So this could be halted until the open, frankly.
Easily.
Yeah. So
it's going to be halted. I think we're going to see a takeover here. I think the HFT algos aren't that crazy to pay up 37% on a rumor. I think that they've got it. I think it's probably going to be a deal announcement here, especially when they halt the stock. It's probably a deal going to be coming here. So anyways, the rumor, it's still just a rumor, but Dow Jones is a great source. They've halted the stock now pending news. It looks like we got a takeover here. And what does that mean for the entire sector? I would think, you're going to see Take-Two trade higher. It's up 3.68% now. EA is probably going to trade higher. It's up 6.1% now. Those are the two direct peers to Activision Blizzard. And then you can get into the Roblox. And Spencer, to your point, it was a good call. It was trading down at 79. It's up at 80.5 now. So people are starting to just comb the ditches here now. I don't think you're going to get a takeover Roblox at that valuation, but the market doesn't care right now. They're buying those stocks. Do you go into like the headgear and stuff like that? I don't think so.
$95 is confirmed.
95?
Yep. That's what I'm seeing on all over.
Yeah, it's on CNBC now too. So $95.
And how high did it get just now? It got to 93. Just that's funny. Anyway.
Now again, do we have details that this is all stock, cash? Microsoft has a cash deal too, probably.
All cash.
All cash.
All cash.
Okay, so when you have a cash deal, you're not going to see the arbitrage effects as much on Microsoft. So Microsoft down 3% here. I don't think it's going to fall 6-7% because it's all cash deal. You won't have them shorting that to buy the other stocks. So if it's all cash, I'm not saying buy the dip on Microsoft, but I wouldn't be selling it down 3% on an all cash deal. If it was all stock deal, it might be a different story.
So
So we have confirmation.
So whoever in the chat was asking, "Oh, would you sell Activision?" Well, now definitely, right?
Oh yeah, it's over. The trade's
right,
over. Take
right.
your money and run.
Yeah, it's not a rumor now.
It'll be trade on time value of money. If it's 95, it'll trade up to like 93 because there'll be a little, premium or discount put in there just in case the deal doesn't go through. So it probably trades up to $92, $93, maybe even 93 and a half. So that's how you ring the register and you move on. You redeploy that capital. You don't sit around and wait for somebody. It might be somebody to pay more. So what a day to have Michael Pachter on. We're gonna get him on in 10 minutes. If he doesn't bail on us, because he'll have a million people.
He might
calling
bail
right
on
now.
us.
His phone is ringing off the hook right now. By the way,
I hope he doesn't bail.
he may, because his phone is ringing off the hook. So
Oh my God.
what a win! But think about Pachter. As bad as his Netflix call was, he has given us so many good gaming picks. This guy knows games. He brought us King on this show, King, when it was the Candy Crush maker. He brought us that one 5-6 years ago. He brought us Glue Mobile, said I think it's going to get taken over. It does. Zynga said it was a target. It gets taken over. He hasn't said Activision Blizzard was a target, but it was his pick of the year. Not kidding. This was his pick of 2022. He just did this pick a week ago, a week and a half ago, and it gets taken over. Michael Pachter, hot right now.
Congratulate! What a gift! If you're in Activision and you bought this thing like it basically at any point other than,
I'm mad because I'm not in it. I was in it. I sold at 80 and I never rebought. I should have rebought, Spencer.
Hey,
you got to rebuy those stocks.
Hey, Michael, if you're good to go back there, can you give me a thumbs up? Because we'd love to bring you on early. Yeah, okay. Michael Pachter, everyone, is a senior equity analyst at Wedbush.
He's here.
He's here right now. We're just going to bring him on because this is wild. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, it is wild.
He's got a big smile.
I'm losing all the
you are so hot right now. You literally made this your pick of the year, I believe. Did you not? Was this not one of your main stocks of the year?
I like him, and I think that the hatred for Bobby was misplaced, and I'm actually curious to see if this deal goes through. I don't see Microsoft buying these guys without Bobby, so possible, but I don't think that they do. And I don't think Bobby will be a popular hire at Microsoft. So I'm really curious to see how they negotiate Microsoft negotiates the universal media hatred for Bobby's leadership and all the sexual harassment issues.
But Michael, let me ask you this: do you think there is any potential antitrust anything with this, or how likely do you see this going through right off the bat?
Yeah, it's big. So the revenues aren't that great. Activision's maybe $8.5-9 billion total, and the gaming industry is over 100 billion. So the revenue concentration isn't so great, but it's big enough. And Microsoft's a pretty big player, obviously. And I think the bigger issue is the anti-competitive. Microsoft's cornering some pretty popular games that are going to just suddenly not appear on PlayStation. So I think there's an issue. I mean, it's different, when they buy Bethesda that does, 500 million a year, and, maybe 100 million, 200 million on PlayStation, and they're buying Activision now. They do a couple of $1 billion on PlayStation every year. So Sony's going to have an issue with it because it's a big chunk of their revenue. And it's going to mean, if you can't ever play Call of Duty again on the PlayStation, it's going to kill PlayStation sales. So I could see the Justice Department asking about it, the FTC asking about it, and and possibly you can reach an accommodation that you will continue to produce games for PlayStation. But then that begs the question: why buy Activision?
So why buy Activision?
Yeah, good question. The biggest surprise to me is that Microsoft wants to be in the mobile games business, because Activision's huge in mobile. King, which is Candy Crush and a few others, is over $2 billion, and Call of Duty Mobile is pushing $1 billion. And all the other stuff they have, Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone, a few other, and they're coming out with Diablo Immortal. They're going to be $3.5 billion mobile, and Microsoft is essentially zero mobile. So, that's a big move. It's possible Microsoft wants to be in mobile. We saw that with their acquisition of Nokia's handset business. So, so clearly that has been a real painful exercise for them. And I'm surprised they want to get into mobile games. Same with free to play. Call of Duty Warzone is a pretty big deal. It's probably $400 million, and Activision's got other free to play games coming up. Just not something Microsoft has done before. So it'd be really interesting to see. And those businesses don't support Xbox. So, they don't support Xbox, and they don't really matter as a Game Pass subscriber because they're already free. So I don't really understand why Microsoft wants to buy a company that has probably 40 to 50% of its revenue from stuff that doesn't benefit Xbox at all. It surprises me, but maybe.
Michael, what does this say about the rest of the space now? Because now we've had two major deals in the last few weeks. We had the Take-Two Zynga deal, and now we have this. So now you've got EA out there, you've got Take-Two still out there. What does this mean for and yeah, other names like Corsair, Unity, Roblox? What does this say about the rest of the space?
Well, it's an acknowledgement that if you can't build it, you got to buy it. It shows that there is interest in owning these assets. I wouldn't say that it indicates anything positive or negative for Corsair or Unity. Unity benefits from the Apple IDFA changes. You're just going to get more dollars flowing, ad dollars for games flowing into games, which is what they do. So they're going to benefit. But Microsoft's ownership of Activision is going to make more people play games. In fact, if they pull games off PlayStation, fewer people will play games. So there'll be fewer PlayStation handset, console controllers sold, which is bad for Corsair. Roblox unaffected. I think really this is more of an acknowledgement that the metaverse is coming and that Microsoft wants to be a metaverse media company and be positioned to, own high quality content and participate as the metaverse emerges. And because of their cloud position, they were going to be there anyway. So I think that they want to have cloud and content. I wouldn't be surprised if they picked up somebody who does payments, if they want to really just expand and be good at this. Metaverse isn't going to happen like a light switch. It's going to be slow and steady, boiling a frog. So it's going to be a gradual evolution, and it's not going to be dominated by Facebook. Zuckerberg's wrong on this one. It's not virtual reality. It's portability and persistence, which Facebook offers neither of. So Microsoft, I think, intends to offer both, mostly because of the cloud business and because they're really good at cross-platform ability to play the same game on different devices.
So, Michael, we know, of course, Activision was in the news for other reasons, and there was a report over the weekend that a bunch of managers had quietly, been fired. To your knowledge, had Activision been shopping themselves around?
I know nothing about them being shopped around, so the answer is no. I don't know.
Okay.
I thought that the journal article was particularly unfair and bad because Bobby was a jerk and was somebody who should be resigning instantly because he wasn't doing enough to address the sexual harassment issues. Now he's a jerk and needs to resign immediately because he's firing a lot of people. And and this notion that the company's obligated to name all the people they fired, there are privacy issues. You can't. And particularly if you didn't give them a full and fair hearing, if you just went to the person and said there are allegations, we'll pay you to leave, but please leave. You can't go public with it. So I'm kind of surprised that the editors of the journal allowed that article to be published. But I'm kind of encouraged that they fired 40 people. It sounds like they're actually swiftly addressing things as they become aware of them. We can ding them for not being aware of them early enough and taking action, promptly enough, but they've done it now. So I wouldn't ding them for doing it now.
And then we've got, of course, the value of the deal, $68.7 billion. That comes out to $95 a share. That represents like a 37% or so premium from Friday's close. What is your reaction to that number, just based on the fundamentals? Make sense to you?
I mean, Activision was trading over $100, just a few months ago. So Microsoft's taking advantage of a pretty precipitous price decline. I don't know that I don't actually haven't paid attention to Microsoft stock, so I'm not sure where that was trading prior. But you can see Activision there on your chart. It peaked above 100, and this deal is at 90. So Microsoft's getting a pretty good value. And back when the stock was over 100, we all thought it was worth 120. So I still think it's worth 120. So Microsoft's getting a discount and taking advantage, exploiting a weak market, hatred of tech, hatred of Bobby. So good for them. I'm more surprised that Activision's accepting it.
What are your thoughts on EA and Take-Two? Are their valuations attractive enough that they all of a sudden become targets for one of the mega caps to come in here if they want to participate in the metaverse? Or is it just Activision's valuation was beat up enough that that was going to be the only target out of the big three?
Well, EA's tougher to buy because of the sports licenses. So, saying we're not going to make Call of Duty for PlayStation, nobody's hurt except the Call of Duty developers can't brag about, selling 25 million units anymore. But if you tell FIFA or NFL, we're not going to sell as many copies of FIFA or Madden, they're pissed. They want you to sell as many copies as possible. So I think the sports licenses kind of preclude EA from being in play, from a company like Microsoft or Sony. Certainly doesn't preclude Amazon or Apple from buying them or other big tech, Tencent or somebody else. Take-Two, I think Take-Two is interesting, but they don't produce games fast enough. They don't have franchises that are recurring revenue. So Grand Theft Auto came out in 2013. It's a gift that keeps on giving, but you kind of want to see annual franchises. They have NBA, so they have the same issue as EA does with NBA. The NBA wouldn't like it if you only made the game for one console. The NBA license is non-exclusive, so I think the NBA would probably squawk less. But I think Activision was the premium asset here.
Michael, what about like Netflix here? We know they have ambitions, in the space. So now we just saw one big five tech company make a play. Is there a possibility here where Netflix does the same?
I think Netflix, if they were to do this, because they don't strike me as being imprudent on M&A or on their spending, notwithstanding that I have a sell on them. It's not that I don't have a sell on them because they spent $5 billion on one movie. They spend $5 billion on 50 movies or whatever. So they produce a lot of content. I would say their approach would be, dip their toe in and not buy something for $70 billion. I could see them emerging as a bidder for Zynga. Those assets make some sense. If you want to talk about scarcity value, there's a company called Playtika, PLTK, that is about the same size as Zynga. And Playtika, look at that chart. Playtika's gotten its butt kicked, and their revenue is about the same as Zynga. So, valuation wise, it implies a price of around 35 for Playtika if they paid the same as Take-Two paid for Zynga. So if I were Netflix, I'd be looking at those kind of assets, not at Activision.
Smaller fish.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my next question. Besides Playtika, are there other smaller fish that we're not thinking of that we haven't mentioned yet?
I mean, there's tons of little guys, but what moves the needle? I mean, they could buy Scopely, which is private and a great company. They could buy Jam City, which is private and a great company. But those guys are probably $1 billion of revenue, where Playtika is 2.5, Zynga was 2.8. So that it doesn't move the needle on Netflix. It's 30 billion, but it gets them into the gaming business.
And then, are there any implications here, Michael, for a company like GameStop, or not really?
It accelerates their demise.
Accelerates their demise.
I mean, Microsoft, imagine no games on PlayStation. Microsoft owning Activision, Activision was indifferent whether you bought games physically or on the Microsoft store. Like, they obviously make a little bit higher margin, but if a gamer says, I'm not buying Call of Duty anymore unless you let me buy a physical copy, they'll keep making it. I don't think Microsoft cares. You want to play Call of Duty? Microsoft could pronounce tomorrow, you want to play Call of Duty? Digital download. It's the only way you can get it. See you, GameStop. That's the problem. So So and same thing, GameStop's going to get into NFTs, and Microsoft's going to embrace that. Please, Microsoft would be like, "What do we need you for?" Same thing. What do we need you for retail sales? We don't.
Yeah, and should point out, GameStop trading a little bit lower. Sony is trading down this morning for the very reason that Michael said earlier, right? The implication here is that it potentially means bad things for the PlayStation platform. Though I can't imagine they would go down without a fight. You know what I mean? I can't imagine this wouldn't go to some DOJ review of some kind.
Yeah, the real problem here is that it's not a civil suit brought by the aggrieved party,
Yeah.
Sony, against the violator, Microsoft. This is a plea to a regulatory body to intervene. And my bias is that the FTC under a Democratic administration will intervene. I actually think they will. And I actually think this deal is going to have a whole lot of constraints. But revenue concentration isn't one of them. It's because I don't think that number is big enough. It's the concentration among one console developer or manufacturer at the expense of the other, and those two guys dominate. So pulling all games off Sony. The accommodation is Microsoft can agree to a standstill agreement for the next 50 years that as long as we produce games for an Xbox, we'll produce them for PlayStation.
Right.
They can agree.
Right, and as Jack pointed out in the chat, it's revenue, right? For Activision, now Microsoft, right? Revenue for them, making it available on Sony, so it's not nothing. It's not worth nothing. But
Right.
Yeah. Michael Pachter, I thank you so much for joining us today. The timing could not have been better. I'm sure you've got a busy day ahead of you.
He's going to be a busy man today.
It's a lot of conference calls and media, so we thank you so much for making us.
And
your
great call. I mean, he just put a buy. Like, you just reiterated your buy on Activision Blizzard. An unbelievable call, really, by you. And it gets taken over here a couple weeks later. So you brought us some great ones here on the show, Michael. We thank you.
He's been
Okay. Unity. Take a look at Unity.
You still like Unity? He's still a big fan of Unity.
I think. Look, they are the metaverse play. So pay attention to that one.
Valuation doesn't scare you on this?
It was 200, 2 months ago. So
you think it's come down enough that Unity?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that the IDFA changes benefit them pretty immensely. So I think you'll see their advertising delivery business grow. That's their operate business. I think as the metaverse evolves, as Apple's stay of the injunction, that was issued, the Epic case is lifted, that stay will be lifted, and they're going to have to open up stores. Unity is the logical place to offer stores for developers. So I think Unity is going to dominate. And if John Riccatello at Unity would learn what NFT stood for and start talking about it, they are the NFT company. I mean, they'll be created in Unity, and he just doesn't like buzzwords, and he doesn't want to, talk about flavor of the month. But my God, they're so well positioned to dominate. I think that's the one you look at.
Michael Pachter, thanks a lot, man. Have a great rest of your day.
See you guys.
All right. He's given us several names that have been, as Dennis said, that have been taking over through the years. He, like Dennis said, he gave King years ago. He gave Zynga,
Blue Mobile.
And now Activision. So unreal. I mean,
I was in Activision a long time because of Michael Pachter. He'd given it to us on the show back when it was $40 or $50, and then I sold it at $83 last year or $85 last year. Wish I would have rebought it to obviously participate in it again, but he's made some fantastic calls on the show, and he knows he's been on the wrong side of Netflix. He admits that. I mean, nobody gets everything right, but he's made some fantastic calls on the gamers. I don't trust anybody more than Michael Pachter in the gaming area.
Yeah. Anyway, here's a 1-minute chart of Microsoft up on the screen for the morning.
And it started to rally after we found out that it was a cash deal. So we just talked about, before Michael Pachter come on, the stock was trading 301. I was like, it's down 3%. It's a cash deal. I don't think they're going to slam it. And it's bounced back actually about $3-4 since that. So when you find out it's a cash deal, the reason is the arbitrage effect. So when you have an all stock deal, the natural thing is, okay, well, you can short the stock against it and obviously buy, Activision. And that's what the natural arbitrage action is. So when you have a cash deal, you don't have those natural arbitrage effects because Activision is playing up on the cash side, so you don't have that selling pressure because of the cash deal. The only reason they would have some selling pressure is because people just think they overpaid. That would be the only reason.
Yep.
So, and it's not surprising it's down. I mean, they did pay a huge premium here for a stock that was trading at $66 in a clear downtrend. But, again, when you look at Microsoft's market cap, even if it's a $50 billion or $70 billion pill to swallow, it's still a drop in the bucket when you're talking about $2.3 trillion companies. So, very interesting.
Well, that kind of threw off the entire morning there a little bit. Right?
We had a schedule and we went completely away from that. We did.
We're just going to talk about the banks a little bit. We're going to talk about
we haven't even talked Goldman Sachs earnings. We better bring it back there.
I tried to. Let's go back to Goldman
we better
Sachs
bring it
for a
back
second.
there.
The stock is down, just like doing the same thing today that JP Morgan did on Friday. The earnings, give the numbers for you in the Benzinga Pro. EPS a little bit light. Sales came in higher. Investment banking revenue up 45% year over year, but global markets revenue down 7% year over year. Anyway, it's doing what the banks did last week.
Yeah. So. I mean, and JP Morgan did not bounce. I said I liked it at 160 when it was pulling back. It's 156. The disappointing earnings, I guess you just don't have to jump right in. I thought they might snap that back up and I still think the banks will drift higher because I think we are going to that rising interest rate environment. I think the overall landscape sets up well to own the banks here. But, we get Goldman Sachs breaking down. You don't like to own stocks making new lows. We do have to look, the low of the move 366 is taking that out. So from a technical basis, the next level, if it does indeed take 366 out, would be 350. So I think, on a pullback, I like owning the banks, but right now they're not in favor. But I mean, we have an overall market here that is not helping the cause either. Obviously, S&P is not a great day on Friday. A really rough morning here today. I guess they did bounce back on Friday towards the afternoon, but we're in a little bit of a downtrend. It's hard to own stocks here right now because of the overall market. But what I like still is reopening plays. And I do like the banks and the pullbacks. I don't know, obviously JP Morgan didn't work on day one. I'm not sure if Goldman Sachs bounces right back. Maybe Morgan Stanley is a sleeper. It's going to report here usually on Wednesday it reports. It's been beat up with the JP Morgan numbers, beat up with the Goldman numbers. Bar set a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised if Morgan Stanley actually rallies on its report when they report tomorrow morning.
And then we also had Schwab this morning, and it's going the same way. Really, it's not as active as a stock.
A lot of money hiding here, and that's the problem too.
Look at that Schwab.
They made new all-time highs on Friday. After they made new all-time highs on Friday. I mean, you think about where the market is. There's a lot of stocks that are making new lows. So they've been a fantastic hiding place. So maybe it's just a matter of that there's just too much money hiding there and you got to shake that out before they can start to come higher again. But I think at a certain point, the banks are going to be buys on the pullbacks.
Oh, man. Okay, let's go back to my list here. What else?
So Unity Software is trading. Actually didn't get much of a lift here yet. Roblox, though, to your point, Spencer, a fantastic call by you. It was $79 and you're like, well, maybe Roblox gets lift. This thing lifted all the way to $84. It's pulling back here now as well. We're starting to see some of the other stocks. EA is still trading up $8, so it's a big lift. The pure two simply plays are Take-Two and EA. But they're such big companies. I don't know who's the suitor. You can say, Microsoft, they are into gaming, so it's, not illogical if they, kind of fit in. But, even though when Michael Pachter was saying obviously some of the stuff doesn't go along with Xbox, but right. I don't know who the potential suitor for an EA or Take-Two would be. It's got to be those big guns because these companies are really big companies. I mean, what's the market cap of, go to the pro, what's the market cap of EA and what's the market cap of Take-Two? I mean, these are big pills to swallow. $37 billion company EA, Take-Two, I'm beating you to it, Spencer. Take-Two. Well, Take-Two's smaller. Take-Two's only $17 billion, eh? Is that right?
36 on EA and 17 on Take-Two. Yeah.
Yeah, Take-Two's only 17. I mean, does that make it a target for one of the bigger companies? I don't know. I mean, obviously somebody thinks so because Take-Two's trading up here this morning. Again, I own Take-Two shares.
ATVI just resumed. Sorry.
Yeah. 89.5. So you got a 90. That's interesting. You got a 95 takeout price. So they are saying, and Michael Pachter did say, that this might not be just clear sailing here for antitrust. I mean, they're putting a 5-point risk premium on that the deal doesn't close. So that's a lot more than the time value of money in this case. So I would have thought it could trade a little higher than that, but at 89.5, I mean, you got a risk. There's 5 points upside. And if the deal didn't close, there's a 25-point downside now. So, yeah. So that's where you're at. That's how the risk arbs are pricing it right now. So I guess that makes sense.
And now this opens up a huge can of worms. Now because it's Microsoft, so now you have to ask yourself, well, what about Netflix? What about Apple? What about any of them? Google, Facebook? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does this begin a freaking a land grab? You know what I mean? Where
I don't know.
I don't know
It's
either.
very interesting because Activision Blizzard is a huge company, and the only people that only companies that can swallow that would be the mega caps.
I know.
So it's very interesting, but it kind of makes sense to me. Is it going to be allowed? I mean, there is a question of that, and the risk arbs are pricing in a 5-point risk premium here that, hey, this deal may not be allowed. So those guys are pretty smart to do this arbitrage. So they're saying there's a little bit of risk that the deal would not happen.
I mean, they being Microsoft would probably have to assure Sony something, some long-term contract that would, ensure Activision properties on the PlayStation platform. I don't know, but man, this is a bit. I don't remember.
It's a big story.
The last time we got a deal this big during the show.
It's fun when you get them live on the show.
I think was when Amazon bought Whole Foods, which was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. We haven't had. It hasn't really been the environment. We're already Merger Monday. This is obviously like a synthetic Monday here because of the holiday. But we have not been seeing Merger Monday, very, very much, really. I mean, we've been in an environment where a lot of companies have flat out been struggling. So, we've seen some mergers, but we haven't seen like big deals happening here. This is a big deal. This is the deal. This will be one of the biggest deals of the year.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and can I throw a name that we haven't talked about that because it doesn't really trade actively in the U.S., but it has a ticker. Nintendo was NTDOY. It trades OTC, but watch it after 9:30. It's not going to trade pre-market, but watch it after 9:30 NTDOY for some potential movement there. Oh boy. My head is spinning here.
Yeah, we went right back to the game. We started talking the banks, and then we couldn't help ourselves. We had to go back there. So we started this day, though, talking about the reopening trade. And I'm just going to say it again. I think, on the pullback here this morning, I think if I'm buying stocks, and maybe I'm going to, I haven't totally decided on, what I'm, doing here yet, because I'm a little bit nervous on this overall market. So I kind of like my cash position. But if I'm nibbling in here, I'm nibbling into reopening stocks. I'm not nibbling into the beaten down Kathy names, even though, there's a lot of upside potential if they go to turn. But I think there's going to be a sneaky reopening trade here happening. I do think, we're going to get past Omicron. I do think people are going to start going and doing more stuff, and people are going to start taking more vacations. You start thinking about like a booking. The relative strength on these stocks has been impressive so far in the last few weeks because the market overall has kind of been drifting down, IWM especially. And you've got these stocks here that aren't really giving it back. And that's telling me that the market thinks, that there could be a reopening trade coming too. So, you got, the airlines trading down 1-2% today. You got some of the casinos trading down 1-2% today. You got some of the cruise lines trading down 1-2% today. I think you're nibbling. I think you're just trying it. Obviously, nothing's going to work 100% of the time. We may be wrong, but I think a reopening trade is coming.
And then Billy Bob Monroe asked, is AMC a reopening trade? On paper, yes. In practice, no. Because on paper, yeah, movie theater, sure. But
sure.
as far as the stock, it is its own thing. It is in a category.
It's completely separated from its fundamental story. So, it's a storied stock. There was like I guess, on Reddit, there was number one talked about stock. They were going to get together and really try to push the stock back up here. I mean, it's $19 here now. I said when it was 50 that I think it's eventually going to be a $10 stock again. It's only got 9 points or 10 points left to get there. I'm going to stick with that. I think it's eventually $10 stock again. Unfortunately, I just think eventually fundamentals do matter, and it never made sense here. You're going to get these rip-roaring rallies. You're going to get these short squeezes. They've been happening. I mean, people are waiting for the short squeezes. We've seen multiple short squeezes in this name. Every time it gets a little lift, you saw it back on the 17th. Stock went from 23 to 30. So there has been short squeezes in this names, but they're hard to hold because it's fundamental investors that really hold up price in the long term. And I think you're eventually going to have a date with $10. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong, but I've been bearish the stock for a long time and correct on that stance.
I can't go back. Like, what a bailout! Not even, it's not a bailout. I mean, if you're in Activision and you bought this thing at any point in the last 11 months, or not quite 11 months. We'll call it 7 months. What a day for you! I mean, you just rode this thing down from 90 to 50 to the high 50s, and what a gift! I mean, sometimes you just get lucky, and that's just the way it goes. I mean, congratulations to anyone that bought this thing, at any point since June, right, or June or July, because you just made all your losses back in one morning. Oh man, that's incredible. You want to know what happens when M&A doesn't quite work out or the street doesn't love it? Is if you look at Unilever here this morning, this chart's interesting here. So GlaxoSmithKline dropped a press release, I think over the weekend, or I don't remember when exactly. I think it was over the weekend. And they said that they have rejected not one, not two, but 3 unsolicited takeover offers from Unilever for GlaxoSmithKline's consumer-facing business. So Unilever shares are now down almost 10% in the pre-market here. It also trades actively in Europe. So the concern now is like, A, paying for growth, and also B, how much are you willing to pay for it? So, maybe the market is thinking that Unilever is going to have to just really overpay for these assets that they must really want them if they've sent over 3 unsolicited bids. Anyway, so Unilever is trading lower because of that.
I think I'd be a buyer of the UL pullback here. I know it's already trading actively in Europe, so you're seeing an active market here. It's not like this is going to bounce back, today, because it's already been trading for hours in the open market. But if this is trading down $5 just because they might buy GlaxoSmithKline, I'm not sure if there's another story behind it. I mean, this is a value stock. It's at a 4% dividend. It kind of fits, the whole value market here. Obviously getting, beat up here this morning. I think I'd be a buyer of UL on the pullback.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
And then GSK is not really.
It's up.
Yeah,
it's up. I don't know if there's another story behind UL here. I'm just challenging that it's just that. Like, I haven't looked at my news, and there's so much other stuff going on that, was there earnings or was it something? Because I feel like this is down way too much for just, worried that they're buying GlaxoSmithKline. I feel like there's got to be something more here.
Well, it's maybe it's like the implication, like, what are you guys doing over there? You know what I mean? Like, you just sent over 3 offers that the company just laughed in your face.
They're scared they're gonna just overpay for something.
GlaxoSmithKline just laughed in your face.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? Like is this your plan for growth? Because they just laughed at you. So I don't know. Oh man. Anyway, let's 8:59. Let's see if we can do like 1 or 2 minutes of ticker time here. I think Matt Miller asked about BLI. I think it was BLI. I'm like,
these are horror stories.
I know.
I mean, they're all oversold. There's going to be some wicked rallies in these things, but there's just, like, this is a big Kathy name that has absolutely been destroyed. It was $113. It's $9 here now. It's dream stock that, I think, you're looking at these and you're like, well, it's $9. What can I lose? Well, you can lose $9. So, I mean, the stock's at a 52-week low. If you wanted to try it, I guess is 905. But if stocks make new all-time lows, you got to go. I always say that. So if you are buying it, 905 would be my stop-out point. Maybe you get a bounce. Maybe, the candle on Friday was okay, I guess. But still, ugly chart.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was talking about BBI.
Oh, okay, sorry. So that's BLI. That was good to talk that one too.
BBI, 27 cents.
I don't even talk 27 cent stocks. I know
goodness,
nothing
I'm
about
sorry.
that. 27 cents, too small for the show.
I don't know. I don't know either. We didn't even mention Alibaba today. We didn't mention Alibaba today. It's trending down because the U.S. government is concerned about the risks posed by the Alibaba cloud. So that's why that's down for
I'd be a buyer of Baba on the pullback here. 120 if you could get down there. Maybe you're not going to get that far. Again, I'm very torn here because I'm kind of comfortable with where my cash position is, and it's sitting at 25-30%. I mean, the market isn't great. I've said on this show, I don't think that we're going to have this super rip-roaring year. I think there's going to be a lot of chop. So I want to keep some cash in case it gets ugly. But with that being said, you do want to deploy in certain areas, and certain areas have been working, and value has been working. And I think, if you're sticking, with what's been working, and I think the reopening stocks have quietly been working, and we just aren't seeing it because they're not going higher, but they haven't been going lower in a bad tape. And that's telling me they want to go higher. So certain select areas looking at, but just, jumping in these stocks and beat up names. I mean, it's been a way to lose money for the last 10 months.
All right. 9:01. We'll wrap it up for the day. What a morning. Fireworks.
Yeah.
Merger.
Lots of bank earnings too coming. So tomorrow morning, just to go through, we got Bank America, Morgan Stanley. We've also got UNH reporting. We got UAL. We're going to hear from Alcoa, Procter & Gamble. Thursday, we're going to hear from Netflix, American Airlines. So we've got some earnings. We're coming into earnings season here. It always makes it interesting. Goldman obviously not responding well to its report. They missed. I mean, Goldman doesn't miss very often. So down $16 on the miss from Goldman, but man, they still make a lot of money.
All right. We will be breaking down the market action all the rest of the morning here. Coming up next on Live Trading with Benzinga. So stay tuned for that. Thanks to our guest today, Michael Pachter. Thanks to all of you in the chat. Please remember, all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes and not for investing or trading advice. Okay, going to take a breath now. Going to end the stream. We're going to redirect over to our very next show starting at 9:05. So everyone hit that like button, please. I mean, come on. We had Michael Pachter on the day of Activision getting taken out by Microsoft.
He's unbelievable calls. Again, a great call from Michael Pachter. I'm so disappointed myself that I didn't own Activision Blizzard here. Obviously, Michael brought it to us, and I had a good, I got a good longer-term trade off of it, I guess, from, 50 to
Wild
80.
stuff.
I could have reparticipated, though. So, unbelievable.
Wild stuff. Everyone, have a great rest of your morning. Stay tuned, Benzinga Live. Dennis will catch you later. And wow is all I can say.
Yep.